This is Seriously Old Dirt. It's our very first episode, so we have our wine ready, we have the candles burning, we've got a couple of questions that came through, and we're going to be answering those questions with regards to our blended family life. For those of you who weren't part of or saw a previous post posted, Seriously Old Dirt is about Tristan and I sharing our home, our parenting styles, and our blended family life with you. It's an open platform. We're here to learn and share and grow with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we thought it'd be very important to give a real world viewpoint. It's easy to read articles, listen to a whole bunch of interviews, etc. But there needs to be a part that is actually real. And we thought, you know what, with the theme of being completely vulnerable and open, what better to give an insight into our lives, the challenges that we still go through on a day-to-day basis. So hope you enjoy it. We hope you have your wine because we've got ours.
So one of the first questions that came through a few weeks ago was, what do you find was really difficult in the beginning of us being a blended family, right up in the beginning, versus where we are now, almost 2 years later and a year now living together?
I think for me it was the fact that you and I both come from very different separation and divorce stories. So there were always these challenges of, you know, what's right, how fast do we go in terms of introducing the kids and the families and stuff together. I do think that we were very overcautious. I do think that if we could do it again, maybe would have thrown a bit more caution to the wind and taken that leap. But I think from my perspective, you know, we took it slow. We waited 9 months before the kids even went on a play date, right? It wasn't anything sooner, and, you know, the first sleepover only happened after a year.
Yeah, 3-4 months after that. We just wanted to make sure that we were sure about each other. Coming from a divorce, you don't want to make a mistake. And especially now that you've got your children in the picture, we were obsessed in terms of what would the children need, what would the children think. And I think with my psychological background, I probably pushed that more than I should have. I don't know. But it was very much around the kids, what the kids needed and when they felt comfortable. So yes, we really took our time. We tried to figure out us, and then slowly had play dates with the kids, and they've loved each other from the beginning. They just love each other more now.
Absolutely. The kids have been really, really good. Again, every decision we make is still around the kids.
Yeah.
Even today. Schooling, what the room looks like, the stuff in the room, birthday parties, it's always about the kids. The one thing, however, and we spoke about this off camera, was it's still about us and our happiness.
Yeah.
We were in our previous relationships, and, you know, it just we needed to leave. We needed to make certain changes. Two very different scenarios, but we left for ourselves. We left so that we could be happy. There wasn't a situation that I could explain to Jordan as to why I'm miserable and unhappy. You know, if I want to lead the best example for Jordan and now Mila as a father figure or a fatherly figure and a father figure to Jordan, it's about, you know, if you're not making the change, you choosing your situation. So yes, everything is about the kids and kids first, but there's still that essence of us and what makes us happy.
Yeah. I've had to think about this question in terms of where I was and where I am now and what I've struggled with. And I think more so when Tristan and Jordan moved in with Mila and I last year, even though we had dated for a year before and spent a lot of time with the children, the dynamic absolutely shifts when you're living together. And we'll unpack that in a bit more detail later on. But I think for me, what I struggled with is I've got this little boy in the house, and like I've said before, he calls me Auntie Chantal. I've taken on this role of stepmom, but at the end of the day, I have no say. I have no control over what happens in his world when it comes to the big decisions. I need to pass that back over to Tristan, and he needs to have those conversations with his ex-wife. So I think coming in from a motherly lens, that's been incredibly difficult. I think I'm at a space now where I'm trusting Tristan more. I have to trust you, but I struggle with that because I'm A-type, because I want to control certain things, and I would have a 2 cents on everything. And then I think the other part of trying to control our dynamics is I struggled with the whole ex-wife scenario, just in the sense of you have your home as a woman, and you have your routine, and you have your morals and your values, and someone else has come into that space and they've got their own set of morals and values, and it's trying to figure out what that is, but still needing to be considerate of a mother on the other end and a father on the other end, and keeping those value systems in place for this home. It sounds complicated, it is complicated.
Yeah.
But I think we found a groove now, and that also feels better to me. I think there's a better understanding of Jordan and what Jordan needs as support. For me, there's a better understanding of what Mila needs. I trust Tyler and he trusts me, and Tristan and his ex-wife have a similar dynamic in terms of supporting each other across the 2 homes.
Yeah, and you've got to respect those boundaries. You have to respect what the other family, although it's separated, the parents of the child aren't changing.
Still the parents.
So
Yeah.
they're not going to change, and you need to check yourself. And I've had to check myself on a regular occasion. Chants has had to check herself on a regular occasion, because you've got this medley of situations that come together. You got different discipline styles. You got, Chantal mentioned, different values. Now, when we're talking values, it's more ideologies. It's not, oh, be kind, be good. It's not like we share the same values, but it's the upbringing, it's the discipline. I am very much a disciplinarian, and I hate that, but it is just who I am, and I have to look back at my childhood and reflect. I come from a broken home. I come from a home of divorce. I come from a home where I've witnessed things that no child should have ever witnessed in their life. Then going up through schooling and high school, and pretty much being bullied the entire time at high school. So I've kind of developed this thick shell. My first answer is no. The kids want something, it's no. And
I'm so glad they have me.
yeah, me too. They would never get phone time.
Sweets.
Or sweets. But the thing is, you got to also be kind to yourself. You have to be kind to yourself. You have to allow yourself to be more vulnerable with the kids. Let them get away with something once in a while. It's something I've struggled with. Our kids have got 2 very different personalities. Extremely different personalities. Geordie, super loud, super shy initially, but then that just goes out the window. And we have Mila, who is a lot more reserved. She's more of an observer.
You're a free spirit.
But an absolute free spirit.
And a creative.
So, absolutely, she's going to be a hippie.
But
she's not going to be a hippie. But definitely, like, the kids are so different. I think one of the things that we also discussed was fairness. How do you instill fairness across the family? It's about giving one and having to give the other, even if it's got nothing to do with the other one. I think yesterday we went to a lunch with some friends, and they've just had a baby, and one of the initial reactions was, okay, well, what about their son? Like, let's get him something as well. And I think this is something that comes from us, because if Mila gets something, Jordan has to get it. But it also leads to certain challenges. I think you were talking about the levels of ice cream and stuff like that.
Parenting styles.
Yeah.
That actually takes us to our next question, so let me quickly read that for you. So the next question was, how difficult is it to handle different parenting styles? Each has their own way of parenting. How is this handled? So Tristan started talking about that briefly. We've struggled with that very, very much. It's still something that we check ourselves and we have the hard conversations. I find Tristan will have a moment with the kids, or he'll have a moment about water that is spilt, and I'll then have a conversation with him afterwards and say, listen, I think you were a bit harsh. We'll talk about it and we'll try and handle it differently. One of the things I said to Tris when him and Geordie first moved in is that my philosophy with Mila is this is her home. Our home is our sanctuary and our home is our safe space. And if children can't make mistakes in their home, how are they going to feel freedom to make mistakes out in the open, out in the world? We need to support them here. If they spill water, it's okay. If they spill juice on the floor, it's going to be a bit harder to clean, but it's okay. Because if we react, and I don't want to air all the dirty laundry.
Well, this is seriously all dirt, so let's just get it
Tristan would
on.
react, and I would say to him, but it's just water, it's just juice, it's okay. And I've seen growth in you 100% over the last year with regards to almost checking yourself. Yes, there's boundaries. Yes, there's certain things we expect of the kids, but we've absolutely embraced ourselves in this is their home. This is their safe space. This is where they get to be creative and have an outlet and just be who they are as little humans.
Yeah, and it's about creating a home and a safe space for them. We can only control what happens in our home. And that's been a leading light for us this entire time, is we can't control what happens in the other home. We don't have a say. We don't have a right. We don't have a say as much as we used to. If there's something dramatic and drastic, absolutely, you have a right. It's your child. But certain routines, certain things, you don't have a control on it anymore. So we've always said this needs to be a home where our kids want to come, where their friends want to come. It needs to be a safe space, a sanctuary, just a place of love and caring that they want to be in. And I think we're doing okay. The kids seem super happy here. Yes, they miss their parents, but they love being here. That we've tried to create an environment where we've got paints and markers and paper for days. If you guys have any tips on what to do with drawings, please just help us, because honestly,
I don't want to get rid of any of it.
you see, there's that conflict. I'm just like, let it go. Wait, what did I say the other day? Oh, microwave parent.
Yeah, you're a microwave parent.
I'm a microwave parent. Like, turn it to 2 minutes and let it be done, and it is done. I'm not slow cooking a story for 5-6 years.
I'm the opposite. I'm the slow cooker.
Yeah.
I will take my time. I'll have the conversations. So maybe to get back to this question, we don't have it figured out.
Yeah,
We're trying. We've definitely taken strides. I do think we're a good balance for each other, because Mila can push me and I am soft. Jordan pushes me. I'm soft. And Tristan will then step in when he needs to. So that's absolutely helped. And I've even had a conversation with my ex-husband around Tristan disciplining Mila. And the reality is I take responsibility for Mila's discipline. Tristan takes responsibility for Jordan's discipline. But we step in when we need to and we feel we need to. So if Tristan needs to reprimand Mila about please chew with your mouth closed, or my girl, mommy spoke to you, please take your plate to the kitchen, that's okay. I did struggle with it a lot in the beginning, but Tyler supported it. He also said to me, Chantal, Mila needs to listen to Tristan too. So we absolutely take that and embrace that.
Yeah, and that's been a huge learning. You know, having to know when you can step in, and then knowing when you should step in. Because you don't want to disempower your partner.
Yeah, we've had that conversation too.
Absolutely. I can't step in while Chantal is trying to prove a point, and then I come in and completely be overbearing. This is what I do.
No.
But it's important. It's important to learn those again. Boundaries, right? Boundaries has been the theme of our relationship, actually. But it's knowing when to step in, knowing when to just let a situation ride, especially for me, because I am a lot more of a disciplinarian, like I mentioned. I feel this urge to step in and save the day, but I shouldn't. I can, right? But I shouldn't. So we've had discussions of give me just blink or wink or do something. If you need help, just tag me.
It's never gone that far. I've never needed to blink or wink.
Yeah, you've forgotten to. But it's important, and it's also as someone who's stepping in as a stepfather role, knowing that I have a right and a responsibility to raise this child. And that's important. You got to be part of their growth. Again, everything's about the kids. Chantal is part of Jordan's growth. Like, we were on a phone call today, just bellowed, "I love you, Auntie Chantal." Like, it's incredible to see as a father to my son that he's taken on to this woman as much as I have. Not too much.
Next question.
Yeah.
So, as a couple, how much harder is it to take on a partner with a child? Getting to know not only your partner, but their little person as well. How did you handle the extra pressure or responsibility? That's a good one.
For me, I was going into a new relationship with a child, which meant that I wanted to ensure that the person that I was getting involved with would accept Jordan. And that's key. Our kids are not baggage. Our kids are extensions of us. And if you can't accept my child, then it's not going to work. And I think too many people let go of that and, take the "I need to be happy" to an extreme and forget about their own kids. So stepping into a role that I was then getting another +1, for me, I looked at it from the perspective and put myself in Chantal's shoes. How would I want Chantal to treat Jordan? That's how Chantal wants me to treat Mila. So I think coming from a side that we had kids, we can only give an opinion of that. Coming from a side of maybe you don't have kids and you're stepping into a relationship that has a child, can't really comment, but I would just say, get to know that child as an individual, not as your partner's kid. Get to know them as Mila. Get to know them as Jordan. They're their own personalities. They're their own people. And if you can do that, then I think you're heading in the right direction. It's not always going to be easy.
I think dating after divorce is hard because it's not the same mindset you go into when you're dating someone or meeting someone in your early 20s or 20s. I think you've had a life and you've had heartache, and often part of that heartache is there is a child that's also part of that unit. So yes, I think the lens of dating again is hard in that sense, putting yourself back out into the dating world, having to get to know people. I said to Tristan, we were blessed, so we did know each other from before, that we didn't have to, I don't know how to say it, we didn't have to go out and look for partners. Am I saying this right? I don't know if
Probably
I'm saying
not.
this right. But what I'm saying...
You wanted questions for this. We need a whole host of questions about...
What I'm saying is that I think dating in itself is difficult, and then going into a relationship where you've got children and you're having to you're exploring new parts of yourself and getting to understand who you are again as an individual after divorce. You're dealing with that heartache and that trauma and whatever that situation was, to then open yourself up to someone else is a very vulnerable and a hard space. And it's not just that person getting to know you, but it's like Tristan was saying, that person needs to get to know your child. I remember when we first started spending time together, and this was a new concept to Tristan, but I'd said to him, go sit on the grass and draw with Mila. Ask her questions. Do you remember?
I do.
Go play with her. Because she is quite shy, so she's not just going to latch onto you and start a conversation. You need to get to know her. I think with Jordan it was easier because he's just this ball of love and he's loud and he walks into a room and he just wants to give you love and cuddles. Mila was a bit harder for you. She's far more introverted, definitely more discerning. But the reality is if you're with someone and they can't take the time to build a relationship with your child, they can't take the time to respect you as a parent and the dynamic you've built with your child, that would be a red flag for me. And I think me being with Tristan and us trying to figure us out first, we had a lot of conversations about the kids. Before we even thought about play dates, it was about realizing that if we take this to the next step, I am going to have a little boy in my life and he's going to have a little girl in his life and we're going to have our little pigeon pair. And then the questions were, but what if they don't like each other?
Yeah.
What if they don't get along? What if Mila
us?
doesn't like you? What if Jordan doesn't like me? I was petrified that Jordan would not like me. And it worked out. So we were lucky. I don't know what the dynamic would be for yourself getting into a relationship as a mother with someone who doesn't have a child. But I think those are the conversations, the hard conversations you have to try and figure out what are those boundaries, what are those expectations. Because like Tristan was saying, we hate the word baggage. And I know that that's a commonly used word, you take me and my baggage. Our children are absolutely not baggage. Our children are an extension of ourselves, like Tris was saying. And those extensions have come together to form this family unit.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think you've nailed it. Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, last question, then I've got one of my own.
Should I have more wine?
The last question here is how did the kids handle the situation in the beginning, the new family dynamic?
So I think in the beginning, and right in the beginning, the kids saw it as they were going on play dates.
Yeah.
And that's what it was for them. It was mommy's friend, daddy's friend. And, you know, and that's how we positioned it to them. We were obviously spending more and more time together. We would be going to kid and family friendly restaurants so the kids could play, so that we could spend time together. And as soon as the kids got closer, hands would move away from each other. Because we didn't want to confuse our kids, you know, and that was our perception, that we would be confusing our kids. Whether we would or not, kids are more resilient than we give them credit for, firstly. But that was the dynamic. So it was about us seeing whether or not they could get on, whether they would play together, whether they were nice to each other, whether they were kind to each other, whether they were kind. And, you know, as that progressed, you know, it would go from a breakfast, a lunch, to a bridal house, to something running off into the early evening. But we were very conscious of this. And as much as the kids begged us, oh, please can we have a sleepover, please can we have a sleepover, we weren't ready for that. You know, did we know that we had a future together? I think we thought so.
Well, we're here now.
We're here now. But I mean, we're still figuring it out because that was still part of the process. We've realized, cool, we can get on. We kind of like each other. I like her a lot. And now the next stage was getting the kids involved and getting the kids involved in that dynamic and see how would things change. You know, would things change between us? If the kids didn't like each other, was that a deal breaker? Again, microwave parent, I'm saying, no, it's fine. We will lead and we will tell them what's good, what's not. And Chantal was more, you know, I don't know, it's Mila and me. And I was like, okay, cool. But as that progressed, we eventually did a sleepover. And the only reason we did a sleepover was because we traveled. We went to see Chantal's family in Newcastle and, you know, we had to kind of sleep over. It's a bit far. So but we took things as slow as possible and at the kids' pace. I think there's also been times where we've noticed behavior within our kids where we've either stepped back and allowed them to adjust and not force things. An example would be things like, I don't know, feeding or food or types of food. Feeding, yeah, we feed them out in the back. But they eat at the table.
We really do.
But it's like, you know, there's certain situations that make that human being unique. And sometimes you need to let them experience and give them the time to deal with a certain situation and put yourself aside, because you know what, not everything's about you, and it's about everybody else.
I think in the beginning, when we were just dating and visiting back and forth, it was fine. The kids would ask for each other, they wanted to spend time with each other, so we could see there was this longing to be in each other's space more and more, so we absolutely played into that. I remember when we asked the kids if they were ready for us to move in together, and at first Mila said no. They can come and sleep, but then they must leave. And we respected that. And we waited a few months after that and then asked again. And we only decided to make the decision to move in when the kids said they think this is going to be really cool. It's like a sleepover all the time. Honestly and vulnerably, thank you. Mila struggled. And it was definitely a situation of Tristan and Geordie moving into our home. So she needed to share her room. She needed to share her home. She had to share her mom. Mila struggled.
Yeah.
She really did. And that was when I reached out to an educational psychologist, so Tegan, who's joined me on one of the podcasts. But just to have that external support to give Mila what she needed to help her with this transition, that was really important.
Yeah, and I think
better now.
It's better now. It still rears its head once in a while where it's girls' time, or you know, it's boys' time, or something like that, where the kids demand that individual attention to the point that we've got, which is quite unique apparently, our custody with our kids is 50-50, both of us. So Jordan comes to us midweek, and then he goes to his mom midweek the following week, and then we get Mila towards the end of the work week, and then she goes back to her dad end of the following work week. But we've done that purposefully, that we get alone time with our kids, right? Because it's important. It's important for Jordan just to have time with dad. So we go to the driving range and hit a few golf balls. Chantal will take Mila out to go for a milkshake, or if I'm traveling or if I go play golf, Chantal gets that time, that alone time, and then it's a girl's morning or a girl's afternoon. And that's important. It's important not to just bundle everything together. This is where slow cooking is better than microwave cooking on some occasions, but it's about taking the time with the kids, making sure you have individual time with those, with each child, not only from a Chantal and Mila perspective, but a Tristan and Mila perspective, a Chantal and Jordan perspective. They need their alone time together. They need to build their relationships. And you were saying now, you know, things have gotten better, and it's only been within the last month and a half that there's been this huge sway in Mila towards me. And I love it. I sit on the couch and she'll come and cuddle me. And these are cuddles that she only used to give Chantal. And I've had my own stuff that I've had to deal with. And so I get this sense of she doesn't like me. I try everything, and you know, I feel rejected. And that sucks. But that's also my stuff. So I need to check my stuff before I project it onto the sweet little 6-year-old who's just being a little kid, right? She doesn't have to give me hugs and cuddles, and that's her choice. And so you can't force these things either. So the last month or so has been incredible. Jordan's always loving, and that's my benchmark, right? Jordan is this child that, in his school report recently, and the parent-teacher meeting, teacher said, he's just full of love. Jordan is love. He will cuddle you. To the point that the night before the kids went on school holiday, I said, boy, tomorrow you're breaking up from school for a month. And he just started getting all emotional and crying, goes, oh, I'm going to miss my teacher. And that was his thing. He didn't want to break up for school because he loves his teacher so much. And he loves Auntie Chantal so much. So when we've got two kids that are very different, it's about understanding their dynamics and respecting it and giving them the time to open up when they need to open up. It's been challenging, but we're here and it's good. I wouldn't change anything. Oh.
We could talk for hours, so I think let's wrap it up. Last question from my side. What are you the most excited about for the year to come in our blended family?
Wow, so it's the obvious one. So we're building a house. Super excited, something that we've never been able to really do. And we're very blessed and grateful for the opportunity that we have to do that. And it's about creating a home together. Jordan and I moved into your and Mila's home.
Yeah.
And we've made it a shared space. But this new house is just... it's the most exciting thing for me because we are building this life together. We're giving our kids their own rooms. We are creating a space for our family to thrive, and do our very best to create the home that we imagine, the home where our kids' friends want to come play in the swimming pool, come play Nintendo. I don't care. Just a place for them to come and for their parents to come and have wine with us. We
love wine buddies.
Yeah, we like wine buddies. So for me, that's the most exciting thing. It hasn't been easy. It's been a load of stress. It's a huge commitment and investment, and I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else but you and Mila. So I'm really, really excited about the house. And you?
Same. No, but I think for me it's about making a home for the four of us. It's exactly what Tristan was saying. This is my and Mila's home, and Geordie and Tris moved in a year ago and it's become our home. But when we move now, hopefully, fingers crossed, the 1st of June, I get to decorate our home, and I'm so excited. I've already got ideas for the kids' rooms, but I get to make our home beautiful for us and for our children, and I'm so excited.
Excited to spend it with you, Mabu.
Ching ching, thank you for doing this with me.
Absolutely, Mabu.
So thank you for joining this episode. We're hoping to have an episode at least once a month. That is the plan so far. But again, any questions from your side, send them through to Tris and I. We would also like to potentially allocate themes to some of these evenings, so we'll see how it goes.
The theme will always be led by wine and
seriously all dirt.
But thank you. It's the first time we're doing something like this. I'm sure there will be areas to pick apart, and that's okay. But hopefully we get better at this and do this for many more times. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming into our home. We look forward to having you into our new home as well. And thank you, my love. Putting us out and making us be so vulnerable and open. I think it's quite cathartic as well.
Not many men would do this, so thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, thanks so much. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.